Bitcoin is whatever the fuck you want Bitcoin to be. It's money. And money is none of anybody else's business but yours.
Hello there from Bedford. How are you all? Welcome to the What Bitcoin Did podcast, which is brought to you by Kraken, the best place to buy, sell and trade Bitcoin. I'm your host, Peter McCormack, and today I've got an interview with Rodolfo Novak, a year after him giving me a load of shit in New York. But before that, I have a message from my show sponsors. So first up today, we've got Cointracker, and this is their last show. So let's give them a final boost. Took a lot of shit of having these guys on the podcast, having them sponsor the show. We had the anti-state people saying, why are you supporting this? Why are you supporting tax? Are you part of the machine? Look, I understand what you're saying, but I pay my tax. I do. I pay my tax because I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to pay my tax, but I do. So this year, I used Cointracker to calculate my Bitcoin tax. It was so easy. I plugged in my wallets, I plugged in my exchanges, and within 2 minutes, I had my tax calculated. Now, their filings work in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia. And if you haven't got your tax sorted out right now, then you should definitely check out Cointracker if you're going to pay it. If you're not, then, well, you don't need it. Now, it is free for users who have 200 or fewer transactions. And for those who have more, you can get a 10% discount by using the URL cointracker.io/a/WBD. And if you want to access Cointracker, it is COINTRACKER. All right, my other new sponsor. Well, they've been with me a month now, sportsbet.io. And with football coming back soon, please, I've just heard the French have cancelled their league. But the good news is the UK is talking about bringing back the Premier League, even behind closed doors, very soon, which means we can finish watching Liverpool smash the title and laugh at Tottenham lose a few more games for the end of the season. Now, Sportsbet, we love these guys because they are the company that put the Bitcoin logo on the Premier League club's shirt. They did it for Watford. And whilst you can't bet on football right now, you can bet on Russian ping pong on sportsbet.io right now. Also, they support esports, they've got eFIFA, they've got Bitcoin Casino, and they've also got my favorite, the poker rooms. If you want to find out more, head over to sportsbet.io, which is sportsbet.io. Okay, so on to the show today, and I got my buddy Rodolfo Novak. He is the CEO of Coinkite, the company behind the Cold Card hardware wallet, but he wasn't always my friend. The first time I met Rodolfo, it was in New York about a year ago, and he gave me a load of shit. And in hindsight, he was right. And since then, we've become friends. We've hung out a few times. We got to know each other. And it's been a while, but I've wanted to get him on the show. So we've finally done it, which is great. So we get into Bitcoin purity. It's a subject we've talked about making a show for a while. So there's lots of different Bitcoiners out there. I'm not the most hardcore anarcho-capitalist Bitcoiner, you know that. But out there are lots of different types of Bitcoiners. There are the newcomers. They may be a statist. They may be someone who's just heard a bit about Bitcoin. They want to buy some money. They go onto Kraken and they leave it on exchange. Wait for the number to go up. And then you've got your hardcore anarcho-capitalist Bitcoiners. They're the ones running nodes, doing coin joins, they're using Tor, they have the best privacy on OPSEC. Hey, look, some of them might be doing that and they're a status, but you know what I mean. There's a broad range of people. So what do we do about this? What do we do about this range of people? Should we just be hardcore, in their face to begin with, give them shit? And what are the things we should be giving them shit about? Is it leaving on exchange? Yeah, I agree with that. Should they be doing coin join and running a node? Well, some of you know my view on this. I'm a little bit more patient about these kind of things. What about political beliefs? Should everyone be a libertarian? If there's someone who believes in the state, should we be calling them a statist? Should we be calling them a slave? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. What about shitcoiners? Should we hassle them? Should we be hostile to them? Now, Bitcoin does sometimes, with some people, have this purity test, and it's something I'm interested in. Now, the beauty of Bitcoin, it doesn't actually give a fuck what you stand for. It doesn't care what you think politically. It doesn't care what you do. It is Bitcoiners who do. And it is these people who are shaping the future direction of Bitcoin. So, should Bitcoin have purity gatekeepers? Is this important? How important is it? What is it important to be toxic about? Just the protocol and protecting the protocol? Or should we be toxic about people's beliefs? I mean, I don't know. I'm one of those who don't think we should, but I know other people do. I know it because they give me shit all the time. But I would definitely be interested to hear your views about this. Now, listen, you want to reach out to me about this show, you can drop me a note. It's hello@whatbitcoindid.com. Some of you prefer to do that than talk about it on Twitter when I'm asking one of these provocative questions. That's cool. If you want to keep in quiet, you want to do this in silence, reach out to me on email. Also, before I go, my latest film is out. It's out on Defiance TV, which is up on YouTube. So youtube.com/Defiance TV. When I was up at the Turkey-Greece border, looking at the migrant and refugee crisis there. Worth checking out. Would appreciate if you do. Let me know what you think. Okay, hope you're having a great week, and I will speak to you soon. They changed their mind on the herd immunity pretty quickly, and now I don't know where we are, like in Europe, we're behind Spain and Italy, but they're actually saying that they think we're 50% underreporting. So actually we're behind France as well.
Yeah, but the tests are like 30% unreliable, so it's pretty hopeless anyways.
I don't know. How are things with you, man? How are things up in Canada?
Things are fine. I mean, it's a low density country aside from, my city is massive, right? It's like third largest city in North America. It's like Chicago size. But the rest of the country is pretty low density. We have a communist healthcare here too. It's actually illegal to have private healthcare here.
Really? So I have private healthcare.
It's illegal. Like you can't pay to make it faster. You can't pay to have it better. That's it.
So that is communist, whereas ours is socialist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have your socialized version, and then you have your option to pay there, right?
Yeah.
If you want to do some stuff here, you can't. It's actually illegal.
Why the fuck would they stop that though? Because the private healthcare system here takes pressure off the public health system.
I know Listen, our hospitals are already running, like over capacity on a good day. It's ridiculous. So like, we have if you live in a big city like I do, and you're dying, you have like first world healthcare, right? It's fantastic, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're not dying, dude, like literally dying, right? If you only lost an arm, for example, to a chainsaw, right? You're gonna wait probably 10 hours in the hospital thing. Like it's a classic thing, right? Like it's a classic communism thing. They love making you wait.
See that itself is dumb, right? I understand. Like I can understand the argument between entirely private and socialized healthcare. There are a lot of people who want socialized healthcare here in the UK.
Have it.
People love the NHS. Everyone loves it. It's
propaganda, man. That's why it's like people love all this shit because they've been told since they're kids that like you should identify yourself as a country who has healthcare for all.
Yeah, but I'd be fair to people. I think some people are happy with like a social safety net and happy to put the NHS in some of that. And I still have to pay for the NHS as much as the next person, but I have the option out. I have, and it's not even expensive, dude. For me, my son and my daughter.
It's because it's not expensive. If you have a healthcare system, right, that like with modern healthcare that is private, it's actually not expensive.
Well, yeah, but I think in the UK it's slightly different in that they still use part of the NHS. So if I phone up my private healthcare provider, I have to go and get a referral from a doctor. But look, dude, for me, my son and my daughter, it's £50 a year. What's that?
But see, what people don't get is like healthcare is not free here, right? Like it fucking costs like $10,000 to $30,000 a year per person. In your taxes.
Yeah, I know.
To sustain this shit, it's unsustainable, right? Anyways, I'm not even gonna waste too much time on this. No wonder people that have real means, they just fly to the US to get shit done. Well, there is a few sort of tricky private clinics here that sort of they find some loopholes so that you can pay say $200 a month, and then you have access to a family doctor pretty fast. But that's it. It's not like they can actually do tests on you. They can't really do anything. It's all communism.
Well, I don't want to. I tell you why I got it. I don't want to fuck around with cancer, right? If my mum had cancer and if I get it, I don't want to go on a waiting list. I'm happy to pay, and it's not like out of privilege. Everybody. Not everybody. Necessity. A lot of people can afford private healthcare and choose not to do it. I don't buy into that argument you're privileged. £150 a month.
That's bullshit. Yeah. This whole privilege shit is bullshit. I was fucking poor when I came to this country, man. You just fucking work and then you pay for shit. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, but I want to pay for it. But even the US system isn't great. You got people in the US who fly to Canada to get their medicines because they're a tenth of the price, right?
Well, but the thing is, US has a very complicated, skewed system, right? Like they can't, get off the pot, shit or get off the pot, right? Like it's like they have this weird, because like the insurance companies there are forced to take in preconditioned people, all this shit. They can't price in the stuff, right? The problems in true actuaries. So you end up with a completely skewed system that ends up costing like way more. So you have to pick, right? You either have like a public-private system where you let the two sort of run their own things. You can still use each other, right? Like you can still have somebody pay the public system to use the hospitals, which is great, more money, right?
Yeah.
But you can't force somebody to foot the bill if they're not being paid to foot the bill. Like then you screw everything and you make everybody else pay more.
Who's got a good system, do you think?
I gotta say, like Switzerland really seems to have its shit together with healthcare. I mean, they have like amazing hospitals, amazing healthcare stuff, right? The pharmaceuticals are there too, and it's fairly affordable. And you can pay to how fancy you want your sofa in your hospital room, right? Like you can go to super fancy hospital, or you can go to like an average one, but they have it together there.
What do they do there for people who've got no healthcare?
I can't remember, but I think they have like a public insurance system, where listen, I don't have. I'm of the libertarian leaning. I love free market stuff.
Yeah,
I don't have answers for everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in that place where I like a social safety net. I do.
Yeah, you're still a pussy.
I'm still a pussy, but I don't have a gun.
I'm joking.
No, but I am. I'm like,
you're entitled to be a pussy.
I'm fuck off, man. I'm not a pussy. No, like I'm still like the social safety net. I still like helping out people in difficult situations.
I think it's okay to have a more millenarist system.
Yeah.
Where you have a few sort of very basic things. You can have some very basic stuff, but the problem is everybody wants more. Everybody wants more free shit that they're not paying for, and then you just end up in a place where it just grows, right? Well, because people are always going to vote for free shit.
Of course they are. Yeah, of course they are. And this is why everyone's heading into full communism now anyway.
Exactly. We've got vote harder, right?
We've got these conservative parties. Like, that's the funny side of it. It's like the conservatives in the UK, the Republicans in the US, they're having to implement the most socialist programs that anyone has ever seen since, God knows when.
It's pretty annoying, right? That there is no home for freedom-loving people anymore, right? So the right is fully populist, essentially socialist, and the left is, communist socialist. So like, like what happened to just the freedom-loving people? It's like, leave me alone.
Well, this is the argument I had with someone recently. They were like, it was to do with the UK election, and it was one of my friends saying, I can't vote for Corbyn because the Labour Party is socialist. I was like, both parties are socialists. It's just a different spectrum. We've still got the NHS under both.
The only good thing about the right, even though I have not a single ounce of social conservatism in me, like zero. I have no interest in people's business. The only reason why a lot of libertarian people or more freedom-leaning people vote to the right is because the right tends to, even if they still do a lot of socialist bullshit, they still tend to have less socialist bullshit, and they tend to do less bullshit against freedom stuff, right? So like, they seem to be, even though they have in their party people who are trying to say, fight abortion, whatever the fuck it is, at least they still don't come after people unless, it's a fascist state kind of deal. They tend to sort of stay off of controlling people's freedom of speech, for example. And I think that at least is one of the reasons why so many sort of libertarians still go to the right to vote.
Yeah, I agree. And it's why we've got these quite interesting debates around lockdowns right now, because you've got right-leaning people saying these lockdowns are bullshit, they're anti-freedom, I should be able to do what I want, I I should be able to, go out and go shopping, and you shouldn't be able to tell me what to do. But at the same time, you have got that question. It's like, well, yeah, but you don't know if you're going to be making people sick, or you're going to be contributing to more people in hospitals. I find the debate itself quite fascinating. It's almost like a real cross section between the left and the right.
I think the problem is, I was fairly concerned about the stuff way back, like early January kind of thing, right? I heard about the stuff starting to happen in China, bought a pile of books about the Spanish flu and viruses and things, and sort of read the stuff and sort of got a better understanding of how these things play out. And we were still, China lies more than everybody else, right? So the numbers were complete bullshit. Mm-hmm. So we couldn't get a picture, right, of like, is this stuff deadly or not? That's the problem. So you can't really create any sort of like policy or plan, even on a personal level, right? What the fuck do you do if you don't know? It's unknown, right? Mm-hmm. So, I started prepping a bit, got my shit together. And I think the issue now is, it seems clear, at least to me, that this stuff is not close to as deadly as, all of us thought. So, there's definitely issues. There's still treatments are still fairly poor, but reality is, most people are not going to die from the shit. It's not that bad. It's bad for the people that develop it badly. Listen, I have a pregnant wife at home, so I have to quarantine regardless of what I think, right? Like, it's immune compromised. But I think that with the data that we have now, it's like, put people in masks and send them back to work. It's like, let's move on from this shit. There's no point.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's a tough one. Like, I do think we could ease the restrictions with certain kind of rules, but I think there's. Are you drinking LaCroix?
Yeah, of course I'm drinking LaCroix.
You call me a pussy.
I don't eat sugar, dude.
Yeah, LaCroix. You should be living in Venice Beach.
That's right.
But listen, I think some of it's in hindsight. We don't know. It's quite interesting at the end of each weekend. Well, I tell you what, something that's quite interesting is if you're one of those people who's pro-lockdown, it feels like people are trying to find the evidence that supports pro-lockdown. What's like the worst evidence we can find? And then people who are like anti-lockdown are trying to find the evidence that best supports their argument. And people just keep presenting for their bias.
It's all crap. The numbers are crap either side. But to me, the proof is in the pudding, right? We don't have piles of bodies in North America or in the West, really, aside from Italy, because listen, Italy has a different problem. Okay, Italy's problem is Italy. If you remove Italy from the picture, right, we don't have piles of bodies, right?
Well, yes, but Spain.
Listen, stuff is it's not like it's bad, but it's not terrible, and it's like less than other problems. So I think, listen, if you just like, and you don't do this forcefully, I don't believe in anything forcefully, right? So if you're immune compromised, listen, remove yourself from the picture. You should, right? Because this stuff is not a walk in the park either if you catch it badly, right? But for everybody else, I mean, let people assess their own risk, right? I mean, reality is that most people are not going to end up in an ICU. It's just they won't. And I think we're reaching a point now where the economical consequence of this is going to kill more people than the virus itself. People kill themselves, man, when they lose jobs.
Yeah, I mean, you're potentially right. I think even more so in parts of Africa, I think we're heading for, I think I saw in the BBC this morning where it's kind of the worst famine that the world has ever seen because of the potential breakdown of supply chains. I see that too. I do see all of that.
Brazil is a disaster.
Yeah, it is. But I also think one of the things I think is most important is that actually we won't really know. I don't think we will really know what this thing is for about a year. We won't have the true data because we don't really know. For example, they say not lots of people aren't dying. Well, we don't know if it would have been worse because if everyone had carried on, then the viral loads would increase, and we don't know what density has to do with something, what public systems have to do it. We don't know if, for example, one country. I think I've read about 33 different strains now. We really don't know how bad this will be.
Yeah, but again, it's like we're never going to know, in all honesty, because you're also never going to know how many people carried the virus and were completely asymptomatic. Because reality is, you can it's going to be very hard. Well, one is PMR test, right? So the blood test for viral load is useless because it's I guess like 30% error rate. And worst, after you had it or before you had it, it doesn't show. So it's completely pointless from a statistical perspective here. And then the immune system markers, right? Test, the serology one. I think you only, depending on how bad you had it, you're only gonna show it for I think a few months after. And if you didn't get it badly enough, I think it doesn't even show at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the reality is that we're never gonna know how many people have it to be able to do CFR, right? So the death analysis on how many people die if they get it. So again, the only way I see this playing out is, you have to count the bodies, right? There really is no, it's like only people that got bad enough, you can truly know that they got it. And then, you look at like what kind of lockdown you had, and you try to extrapolate from that how many people got it. But still, it's
still hard. I tell you what, I tell you what, like in hindsight, you can come up with strategies. Mm-hmm. And my hindsight is like, okay, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to say, look, we've got this shit going on. We don't really understand it. We're going to have a pause, right? For the next month, a pause. We're going to recommend that if you're immune compromised, that you stay at home, you stay away from people, you wear masks. We're non-essential business. This is a recommendation. You can still go to the park and exercise. During that period of time, we're going to find out what we can find out. We're going to build temporary hospitals. I don't think some kind of pause, which allowed you to prepare.
This is all like, this was all possible in January.
Yeah, of course.
China let like 7 or 4 million people leave the country from Wuhan area.
Yeah, no, dude.
So it's
and Iran did the same.
The problem is like, people were talking about like, one is like Chinese racism, and two, they were sort of saying this is just a flu. This is the same people telling us to do lockdown now, right? So if all these morons had sort of locked down all airports and things like that in early January, fine. All these strategies could have worked, right? So we'll sort of like, it's January 1st. We know shit's going down there. Let's close everything down for like 2-3 weeks, right? Everywhere. And then you can actually contain it, right? But no, like, I think the problem is like government is essentially running, right, on 4 weeks late response on everything. First, they were forced 4 weeks, 6 weeks late to recognize this stuff is bad. And now they're doing lockdown 6 weeks too late too. So it's almost like there's no point in any action that they do because they're so late.
Yeah, they're some of them are kind of bold moves. Like, I mean, I'll criticize Trump if I think he's acting like a moron, but I also think at the time where he closed down flights to Europe, that was quite a bold move when other people
and it was the correct move.
It was the correct move, and people were like, you didn't do it soon enough. And I'm like, well,
they were calling him racist at the time.
Yeah, what's her name? Nancy Polsky or whatever her name is. But at the same time, like, some of them's are tough, like bold moves. It's not like, oh, you should have learned the lesson from the pandemic 3 years ago. I mean, this is unprecedented. I know we've had SARS.
No, but see, it's not, right?
But
because
it kind of is.
Here in Canada, we had SARS here in Toronto. Toronto was like ground zero for SARS. And SARS was really deadly, right? That's why it didn't spread as much. And I remember the hospitals here, everybody wearing hazmat suits. We had the Rolling Stones play here for free after you see people come back. All that stuff. And like, we had these amazing reports, right? Like amazing studies done on all the lessons learned, right? And these morons didn't take any of the lessons and apply. It's like, we didn't have a stockpile of masks or anything after SARS. How?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we've had that problem in the UK as well. We don't have a stockpile of fucking anything.
Well, it's because hospitals don't want to run supplies, right? They don't want to keep all this expensive stuff that expires.
Yeah,
because anyways, it's all.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, when did we first meet?
I'm tired of the virus.
Yeah, fuck the virus. When did we first meet? Was it Consensus last year? We did in New York.
In person. No, I never go to Consensus. It's too shitcoin for me.
But I thought we met at dinner at New York.
Yeah, it was MCC. I think.
I mean, same time.
That's right. Yeah. I gave you shit for having, I think, Ver on or something.
You came up and you started fucking yelling at me. Like, what are you fucking... you shit. And I was like, I don't have shitcoiners on my show anymore. You gave me a load of shit, man.
It was great. It was fun drinking with you.
Yeah, man. All right, but anyway, listen. Look, we're gonna do some hardcore Bitcoin shit. I said for a while I wanted to cover Bitcoin purity with you because you're a purist. You provide the purity products in the market. You can't store ETH.
Yeah, but it's funny. I have not announced a purity in myself. Like I do not believe in purity tests for Bitcoin.
But you can't store ETH on a cold card.
Yeah, it's a market. It's a market problem. It's not for me. All this moral questions around shitcoins are market problems, not moral questions.
Where do you stand on stablecoins?
I like stablecoins a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I just don't like them on Ethereum, but I like stablecoins.
Where else could they go? Is there another way of doing it?
There's stablecoins now on Liquid. There's stablecoins on mix of stuff. I mean, technically, they're all a little on the weird side, right? But they serve a purpose. They really do. They are a great place for you to store. So let's say, I mean, let's say you're a more rational actor, right? So you're not like a hodler of last resort, right? You could make the case that that's the rational or not rational, but let's just go with the more sort of middle ground, more mainstream way of looking at investments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Bitcoin price pumps really high, right? And you want to take some profit, even to rebuy at the bottom, right? Not even to hold fiat after. It may not be in your interest to get actual USD in your bank account, right? Let's say you have companies in different countries, you have whatever you do, or your country doesn't let you say, sort yourself out once you do that Bitcoin liquidation. So if you liquidate into stablecoin, you can hold it yourself at least, even if there is counterparty risk, a shit ton of it. Mm-hmm. You can at least hold it yourself while Bitcoin does its thing, and then you rebuy at the bottom, right? So that's just one example of how good it is.
Yeah, someone said to me the other day, is like, also right now, because banks hold, was it like 3%? Something like 3% of the reserves are actually in cash. Is that about right?
In
physical cash. If there's a run on the bank, you can't get to your cash.
Yeah, I mean,
like, just hold it in a stable coin, like hold some.
What's the reserve? There is no such thing anymore.
Yeah, I know.
I think in Canada it's like 0.2 or something. It doesn't matter. Like, these guys will just print whatever it is.
But it would be helpful, maybe, like, say you had $10,000 in the bank. Maybe you have like put 2,000 of that in cash in your house, and maybe you have 2,000 in a stable coin.
Sure. I mean, but to be fair though, if you're set up to have fiat, like cash fiat, go with cash fiat over stablecoin. Stablecoin is only interesting if you're trying to trade, evade taxes, skip censorship, other things while remaining in a stable value.
Yeah, or maybe also send him. I think in sometimes it can be useful for remittance as well. Like if you want to get some dollars to someone,
yeah, that's escape censorship, right?
Yeah. Well, no, but also like it's not even escape censorship, just like ease, just the ease.
Yeah, I put that in the category of escaping censorship because what causes the friction in traditional remittance systems is censorship.
Yeah, it's the bank. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not really the banks, right? It's the government that doesn't want to let the banks, because the banks want to fucking do it.
No, but sometimes like the banks are slow. Like you can't do things on a weekend or something as well. So no, I get it. So anyway, listen, man, can you take me back? I don't do these normally for a while, but I wanted. It's going to be helpful for today. Can you do me your Bitcoin backstory when it started?
So it was the Slashdot article in 2010, I think.
Damn.
It's been a while.
Way back.
It looked interesting. It also looked completely insane. Unlikely to happen. Of course, I didn't buy it right away. And I kept on following it and sort of playing around. And then, I got some, I sent it around. It was interesting. Then I built a blockchain explorer to learn about it with Peter, my business partner. And then we built Bitcoin debit cards. Way back then, I think was 2012 or 2013. A little too early. We built the debit machines. We had them in like many different countries. They were actually designed for people to do in-person exchanges and remittances like Western Union by leveraging the cash float of the grocery store, right? But then using Bitcoin as the rail. And that we closed down years later, and then we sort of focused more on we were back end for some exchanges. We were doing like multi-sig wallets for users, all kinds of stuff. We were very featureful wallet.
But what was it to you? Like, what appealed to you about it?
It was, I mean, what really truly hooked me up to it was my first transaction. It was like between me and my business partner, and I sent like a little bit of coin, and it was like holy shit. It was truly a holy shit moment. It was like I just there is value in the computer. Like the value is mine. It's not like I'm deducting my PayPal and sending it to you, right? Like the realization that was possible to just send a little bit of money between me and another person without any third party, it was like mind blowing. It was like, okay, I need to build something on top of this. Like it was immediate.
Yeah. And were you always Bitcoin only, or did you like look at shitcoins at all? Were you clear from the start?
Of course, I had a few shitcoins. I think I might still have some dead barbecue coin in a hard drive. I was a fan of Litecoin for a while, not because of any technical reasons on it. It's because I believed in those days you could kill Bitcoin still, right, by making it illegal.
Right. Okay.
So the idea of having a secondary secure cryptocurrency as well, so that you could change rails, right? In case Bitcoin was illegalized, it was very interesting. I like the idea of just having alternatives too, right? And at least in those days, you could see some coins trying to just take the torch by offering some different technology, right? And then it was just a slew of scams. And then I just sort of slowly completely lost interest in anything. Ethereum, when it came to me way back before it launched, I was like, this is very stupid. So I never bought it, never owned it. Really regret not buying founder shares just to dump it after. But aside from that, it's just I just from like a very rational sort of like a monetary or financial planning, I find the shitcoins, unless you're a scammer or the bottom of the scan or leveraging them to do trading, it's uninteresting to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go through that shitcoin phase. You almost have to. I think I'm always surprised if somebody hasn't done it. If they just arrive and go, yeah, Bitcoin's king. Yeah, everything else doesn't matter. I completely get it. I mean, I went through it for like 6 months to a year of figuring it out. I'm always surprised when people don't, but
it's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's like experimenting is important. Like you need to arrive at the conclusion by yourself. Otherwise, you're gonna wreck yourself.
Exactly. All right, cool. And then what I'm getting at is like the thing I want to talk to you most about is just a couple of things I've been wrestling with recently. Is that kind of like what actually is Bitcoin for? Because there seems to be lots of different kind of narratives and things that people want to do and their objectives are. And there's very much this kind of like freedom, take down the banks, hyper Bitcoinization, Austrian economics, libertarian, blah blah blah. But also at the same time, I'm like, is this just a group of people who are trying to use Bitcoin as a tool, or is this what Bitcoin should be? And that's what I'm running into right now.
Yeah. So Bitcoin is whatever the fuck you want Bitcoin to be.
Yeah, that's
it's money. And money is none of anybody else's business but yours, right? I truly get, like, I get triggered when people force their preferences on me in regards to money, right? There is one crowd that forked actually and lost the battle, right? Lost the market, who believes Bitcoin is just cash.
Yeah.
And there is the crowd who sort of like is very intense about store of value. The difference between the two is that the store of value people are right. It's just that it's store of value plus cash, right? But Bitcoin cannot be cash without store of value. So it's very important to make that distinction. And the reason why the store of value people get taken seriously and the cash only people don't get taken seriously. It's just that the cash people need to understand that without store of value, there's no cash.
Well, I actually think they feel the same. I actually think they kind of feel the same, because otherwise, why would they invest and hold it if they didn't think it would go up?
Yeah, but I find that a lot of the cash people are the people who don't comprehend Bitcoin technically, really technically well enough. It's like they're less technical people.
Yeah, but not. That's not always true. I'm less technical. You know that. Everyone knows that. I don't know shit about the tech, but I know.
I'm talking about just the cash people.
Yeah, but I think sometimes people just follow a narrative. They've bought into a narrative, and once they're there, they struggle to change their opinion. But I still think they believe it. It's almost like both believe is a store of value and cash. They're just the weightings are different, right? The B cashers, they believe it's peer-to-peer cash, but like they must believe it's part store of value if they think it's going to go up.
But see, I think the reason why I don't even bother the big cash people is because they are sold the scam essentially, right? And now it's in their interest to perpetuate that so they don't lose their bags.
Of course.
So it's kind of hopeless to even bother with them. What I'm referring to is the people who use Bitcoin and keep on telling everybody to buy stuff with Bitcoin. Like I don't even consider the big cash people part of the conversation anymore, right? It's like a few. So it's like they're a religious sect that just sort of lost, right? it's like like a few like Irish dudes still trying to run some Gaelic religion all the way up there, and that's it, right? Like I mean, it's like, sorry, buddy, your thing is cool and all, but like nobody followed it. What's interesting to me is like the amount of people that still try to force their preferences on Bitcoiners and partake in the Bitcoin ecosystem, right?
Yes.
And I think a lot of that partly is because of their poor business decisions. I think a lot of business, and this is why so many people went to the 2x agreement, or a lot of the big businesses wanted to do the block increase, is because higher transaction fees are a problem if your business is commerce, right? And they, rightfully, wrongly, they couldn't wait for us to have SegWit or wait for Lightning Network, right, to sort of solve that problem. But money doesn't give a shit if you can't sell your hats for Bitcoin to the 10 people that want a hat for Bitcoin, right? Because the fees are high. It's like, and you can scream as much as you want on Twitter, right? And it's not going to change because the economical actors in Bitcoin are like, they will enforce, right? All the economical nodes, they will enforce a sound monetary policy here. And that's not going to change. I think that's the problem, right? It's like, so these people made a bad business decision, to their fault or not, but they are perpetuating it.
But did they make a bad business decision, or did they make a business decision and then down the road things changed and then they realized it wasn't going to work?
See, if you're technically, if you're technical or technically understanding of Bitcoin, you would know the fees goes up as number go up. Those things go together. This is not exactly complicated science here. You have a limited resource, which is a block size, right? If the price goes up, whatever fits in there goes up in price on fees. Like, that's it. So if you built a whole business around selling hats for Bitcoin and the price goes up, one is that customers are not interested as much in letting go of their store of value, the price go up for their hats, right? And two, is going to cost more for the very few that somehow, for whatever irrational reason, they want to exchange their gold for a hat, right?
Yeah, but you can also see how people like read the white paper and thought, oh, this is better money for me to sell my hats online because there's we can get rid of reversing transactions and the cost of mediation.
But there is no
disputes
market.
is so high. Yeah, I'm just saying it's like, but you can see how people wanted to get involved and experiment and try things.
Sure.
I get that. I mean,
you can experiment all you want. You should experiment. Just don't expect other people to change the whole monetary system of a system to fit your head sales.
No, I agree with you. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm not sure it was a bad business decision. I just think people created a business and then they discovered the reality of it later on. And I think it was probably more that. It's just as Bitcoin grew, these are the people that supported early growth of Bitcoin, whether it's someone creating a Silk Road or selling hats.
Listen, I've been selling shit for Bitcoin for like almost a decade now, right?
Yeah, man.
I had to go through the fees problem. We were running like no fees, no transaction fee. We were actually eating the transaction fee cost for many years on Coinkite because it was part of the customer experience, right? Like, we don't want to have to explain to people even what a fee is. So it's so cheap. They're like, fuck it, we just pay for it. And it's just going to be embedded in like whatever monthly cost we have for them anyways. But then the price got higher and higher and higher, right? So it started costing us money. So we had to sort of pass that to the customer. It sucks that you have to adapt your business to the system, but that's just the reality, right? I mean, I can't change the monetary system I'm in, that's the feature, not the bug.
But I get what you're saying, right? Like Bitcoin is whatever you want it to be, whatever your use case is.
Yeah.
Even if you're Kim Jong-un wanting to buy parts for your nuclear weapons, it's there for you to use if you want. And if you're a weed head and you want to buy weed, or if you're a libertarian and you want to take down the central banks, you can kind of use it for what you want.
Exactly. I mean, and what's beautiful about Bitcoin is that the game theory is it's like everybody has its opposing needs and opposing sort of views. They keep each other honest in making sure that the system doesn't break, right? And then we have the number go up technology that keeps everybody interested in it. It's a truly beautiful system.
Yeah. Yeah, I covered that I think I was talking with Dan Held, and we were talking about the monetary policy, saying how beautifully elegant and simple it really is.
Yeah, it really is. You use greed as a way of maintaining interest and security, right? Because that's really what's all that there is for miners here, right? It's like future price of Bitcoin, right? Because they're going to try to keep as much as they can and sell later. And then you have everybody else in the system either using for the non-censorship or for number go up too. It's like, and everybody keeps each other honest. It's amazing.
Next up, I talked to Rodolfo more about Bitcoin purity and narratives. But before all that, I've got a message from my absolutely fucking amazing sponsors. So firstly, let's talk about Kraken. They put the power in your hands to buy, sell, and trade Bitcoin. And in these strange times where governments have printed unprecedented amounts of money, many people are considering Bitcoin as an insurance. Many are considering it as an option. And right now, there is no better place to buy Bitcoin than Kraken. And you know what? They get it. They are on a hiring frenzy. Things are growing for Kraken. Now, at Kraken.com, it could not be easier to sign up and buy Bitcoin. And you also have access to their beautiful mobile-first app so you can buy Bitcoin on the go. With their world-class security, they are the most trusted cryptocurrency exchange on the market. And with their 24/7, 365 customer support, they can help you with any issues, whoever you are or wherever you are. There is no better place to trade Bitcoin. Find out more at Kraken.com or download the app, which is available for the iPhone and Android. Just search for Kraken Pro, which is KrakenPro. Also, today we're going to finish off with my longest ever sponsor, the amazing BlockFi, the future of Bitcoin and financial services. And if you did not check out my show recently with Zach and Flory, the co-founders, you want to go and check that out. They get a lot of criticism, a lot of people pointing fingers at them with regard to their services and how they would handle massive market volatility. Well, we've just been through the most volatile period the markets have ever seen. We went to negative oil prices. I didn't even know that was possible, but clearly it is. But BlockFi rode this out like legends. Their risk management procedures absolutely crushed it. So go and check that show out. And listen, if you want to find out more about BlockFi, they've got 2 great products on the market. They've got their interest accounts, which lets you put your crypto to work and earn monthly interest payments with your Bitcoin. And with their crypto-backed loans, you can access liquidity without selling by using your crypto as collateral. You can unlock up to 50% of the value of your assets in USD. Now, if you're interested in checking out BlockFi, I always recommend doing your own research and then head over to blockfi.com, which is blockfi.com. I still wrestle though with what is it? Like when people ask me, what is it for? Because it's a really tough sell to go to people and say, well, it's a way to take down the government.
I mean, it's the best way, the most peaceful and best way of getting rid of government is by defunding government, right?
Of course.
And that's what Bitcoin does. It removes their power over money. They can't print away my value that is held in Bitcoin, right? That's super powerful.
Yeah, but it's a tough sell.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't want personal responsibility, right? That's the reality.
They don't. That's the thing. They don't. And actually, in some ways, we may force it on people. They're like, I don't want this Bitcoin shit. Well, look, the government's collapsing now. The government's got any money. You're going to have to use this Bitcoin shit. But I want a fucking bank account. No, there's no bank accounts anymore.
That's right.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, I guess it's, well, see, like way back in the day, hundreds of years ago, right? You had forced personal responsibility, right? If you don't wake up to take the crops, to feed your pigs, you don't eat. If you don't wash your clothes in the little river, you don't have clean clothes, right? Like it's like there was no subsidy for stuff because there was no like ticket for you to get some food delivered to your house, right? Like there was very hard to have social services in a world where things were a lot more decentralized, right? There was a massive benefit, right, in centralization of government, and like you could make the case that modern monetary policy did help a large chunk of the world get off poverty. You could also make the case that it ruined the life of the middle class in places that were not poor. It's complicated. I don't have answers for that. I'm not an economics professor, and I also don't have a lot of interest in economics masturbation. But I think that Bitcoin, will force personal responsibility on people if it is successful, because you're gonna.
What do you mean? You're gonna be
forced to have to save in it. What?
It already is. It already is successful. I'm like beyond the if now. Like it's here. 11 years. People are using it. It's worth like nearly $7,000. It was at $20,000. Like I'm already like it's successful. Not every technology
is quite amazing.
Yeah, not every technology lives forever, right? If it lasts another 5 years, okay. Its lifespan was 16 years. It didn't fail. It certainly succeeded for over a decade, and then its time has come. But if it's 100 years,
which year were you buying party favors on the internet?
Buying what?
Which year were you buying party favors on the internet?
2013.
2013. So that was about what, $200?
No, like I think my first Bitcoin might have been about 100. Oh no, I'm doing pounds. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about
I'm like 140 pounds.
Right?
About 140 pounds. Yeah.
So imagine sitting those days, right? Thinking, like I remember, like thinking, can you imagine if this thing crosses $1,000?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It did a few months later.
It's like, and like people making like, thinking like, shit. Imagine like Bitcoin's going to moon at 5,000. And it's like, and we're like sitting, like like way past that now, sort of waiting for the next bull run. And I think like one of the reasons why there's certainty in some form of bull run after the halving is because it's gonna cost more to protect it. It's gonna cost more to mine it, period, right? Like by half. So, you know, it's like we have this amazing thing that goes up 10x every 2-3 years. That could change the world, and it's worth a lot now. There's a lot of good people in the world now with millions of dollars to spend on good things. It's fascinating.
But if like the goal is to take down the banks and take down the government, I keep thinking about it. I've been kind of toying with this idea of Bitcoin generals and soldiers, trying to separate those who are the Tor running, node operating, hardcore technical Bitcoiners who understand how the protocol works, from those who are like my friends are like, yeah, I want some Bitcoin. It's like, okay, we'll go on Kraken and get yourself a ledger or a Trezor.
Yeah, fuck that. Those things are shit. Right? Use a cold card.
A keep key.
Oof. That one is really bad.
So you get one. But what I'm saying is, you get a hardware wallet. You do that, and you're fine, and you're safe, right? Not every single person has to be an anarcho-capitalist, government hating, Tor operating. Like this purity level is such a high bar.
But see, most people want to be sheep forever. The only this is the main difference, okay? And this is.
But can we do this?
This is so important, okay? The difference between Bitcoin monetary system, okay, and the fiat monetary system is that if you want to be a general, you don't need permission. You can just go and be a general on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If you want to be a general in fiat system, you can't. You're not allowed. Okay? So it's important that we always remember that when we're talking about like Bitcoin, sort of like, I hate this whole influencer thing, this whole idea of like inferring that some people are specialists or whatever, right? The difference is Bitcoin allow you to do your own research, be your own bank if you want to. Nobody's forcing you either way, right? It's just that like on other systems, you're literally not allowed, right? You're not allowed to even take a large amount of money out of the bank. They won't let you, right? You have to do paperwork. You have to do installments, whatever you want, right? Try walking to your branch and try to get 50 grand out of your bank account. Fuck, even $5,000 they won't let you.
Dude, when I went to get 3,000, I was like, "What do you want it for?" And I was like, "I'm not telling you."
Excuse me, right?
Yeah, they're like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Do I have to tell you?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Well, I'm not telling you."
It's so amazing, isn't it? Like when you're in Bitcoin for long enough, right, and you interact with traditional fiat systems, like you get offended, right? Like it's weird, right? Like people like, but why do you want the money for it? Wait, excuse me. Like, what? It's my money. Get the fuck out.
But can we do this with sheep, right? Can we do it with sheep as well?
No, you can't. It's not going to change.
So everybody has to be a general.
No. So this is the thing, right? I used to have more hope when I was younger, for more optimism in terms of like a larger part of society being more interested in personal responsibility. But I think the ratio is going to remain the same. Irrelevant to which system we have. So
what do you think the ratio is?
Well, I don't have a number, but what say like 5% of the whole world population is interested in financial things. Let's put it this way, and then it's and then it's smaller percentages from there to what level, right? So let's say we just successfully, peacefully move on to a Bitcoin standard, right, in the world. Probably not going to happen this way, but let's say that's what happens, right? Mm-hmm. So I think 80% of the population will still have their coins on Coinbase, right, or whatever custodial system. That will be
their new bank.
Exactly, right? And they're going to run fractional. They're going to do all kinds of shenanigans, right? KYC and all that stuff. So, but at least it will be by choice. So what's cool about that is that we're going to have market solutions for this, which is Coinbase will go bankrupt for whatever reason, right? And then those people are going to get racked. So next time around, those people are going to hold their own. So at least you have the choice, right? So this is the first time in human history that we have access to a hard money that's digital. So before, like you had to, if you wanted something that was not sitting as a pile of gold in your house as a store of value, right? You'd buy stocks, you'd buy ETFs, you buy whatever, right? Like some financialized thing. And that's how you held your value. But those are at the peril of censorship or whatever, right? They're all completely managed by a central entity. Now, Bitcoin allows you now to hold value by yourself in a much more safe way, right? Like it's much safer to hold, say, you have your cold card with your $1 million worth of Bitcoin, right? It's very hard for you to hold $1 million of gold at home, right? You're going to probably get racked.
You need a big home.
Yeah, it's heavy. And not just that. I mean, you're going to have guns. You're going to have like a secure room for it. You're going to have like gold has an insane cost for logistics, right?
No, I get all this, but the point I'm making, dude, is like if we want this Bitcoin to take over, do we need to rely on everybody running a node, operating Tor?
No, we don't. No,
that's
at
the
all.
point.
We don't at all.
That's why I mean. Do we have the generals, the Rodolfos?
No.
That's the Baudels.
No, so I think that's the wrong way of looking at this. Yeah. It's like think about more like Bitcoin. Think more about Ronins, right? So you have essentially, because general implies that you have a hierarchy of importance. There is no hierarchy. There's nothing, right? There's no centralized control. You can have people who are essentially samurais, right? Running out there, like maintaining the order of things, right? By running the node, by running, and it's in their economical interest. And this is the main difference here. This is why it's so important, right? They're not being told to take a party line, right? Like a general. If you have Bitcoin, and if you have a meaningful amount of Bitcoin, it is in your economical interest, right? To keep the network honest by running a node. And if you have a meaningful amount of Bitcoin, it is in your interest to remain private, right? To use Tor. So the money go up technology, right? Keeps everybody in this, it's like it incentivizes you to do the right thing, right? And it's completely selfish. It's none of this kumbaya bullshit that never works, right? Because when you build a system on pure kumbaya, right, on pure benevolence, then eventually people, for whatever circumstances, will cheat, right? So I'll put it this way, right? So let's say like Bill Gates, right? Everybody loves to love him in the mainstream about his benevolence with his cash, right? Which guy has a lot.
Yeah, man.
So, but let's say now that this guy is being coerced, or or you're a rich person and you're trying to help the world or whatever, and you have the keys to the monetary system somehow, right? And you're a very good guy. And then say you run out of money for your stupid Coke problem, and then say like a family friend or whatever has cancer, and now you have to change the monetary system to steal a little bit to save somebody's life. Right? It's like, it doesn't have to be nefarious. It's just that you don't want people with control over anything, because people's life circumstances, moral compass changes, right? So Bitcoin keeps everybody honest with pure selfishness, right? A pure economical interest, self-interest. And self-interest is very important in this sense. It's much more efficient.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, I'm quite happy, especially during this process now where we're seeing a lot of money printing. And actually, funny enough, I have had a few people in the last 2 weeks come to me and say, oh, what's going on with this Bitcoin thing? Can you tell me a bit about it? Like, I'm just seeing the interest pick up. So, but I'm not like, I don't even tell them about nodes. I don't even care. I don't care if they run a node. And other people, this really pisses people off, but I don't. I'm like,
I don't give a shit either.
Yeah, just get on Kraken, go and buy some Bitcoin. Get yourself a hardware wallet. Definitely a Ledger or a Trezor, without doubt. Those two are the best two.
Fuck you.
Definitely get one of those two.
For the people that don't know, I'm a manufacturer of a hardware wallet.
No, just buy a fucking Cold Card. It's the best looking one on the lot as well. But what I'm saying is get a hardware wallet. Well, actually, even not. Look, if someone was buying their
don't
first
get a hardware
£100,
wallet on the beginning. There is no point.
Yeah, even if I would be like, if you're buying $100, is it even bad at $100 to say just keep it on an exchange?
There's a couple different things here, right? So you should follow what your economic interests require, right?
Yeah.
So as your money grows, you improve your security, right? You go and you get a cold card and you do it all, air gapped, cold, and you're all safe and stuff. But until then, say you have no plans of buying more, right? You just bought $50 and it's, if you're curious, and you should be curious, you will explore how Bitcoin works, and you're going to explore how to keep it safe and all that stuff, right? If not, then take the risk that you find appropriate to the size of your hodl, right?
Yeah.
If it's $50 and in your mind you don't care and you want to just see on an exchange, well, then leave it there. It's not my business how you keep it. I think there's a difference though. It's just we have a bunch of people in this space, right, who have been wrecked themselves or have seen their friends be wrecked by non-self custody of the coins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, out of benevolence or out of like just morals, like like we have an incentive, or we just don't want to see people wrecked, right?
Course,
so we
completely agree.
So we keep on pushing people to run their own nodes, to do the hardware wallet thing, to sort of be safe. But we can't tell you what to do with your money and how to calculate your risks, right? I think it's just prudent for you to at least make a risk assessment, right? Of like the time and money to secure it versus how much you have to lose. Right? Because reality is this is extremely fungible digital money. So somebody can very easily take it from you or from an exchange, right? I mean, listen, this is what made me do what I do for a living, right? It's like I was running a web wallet that had multi-sig for customers, right? We closed our system down. I had to keep my stuff somewhere. I had friends that had to keep their stuff somewhere. I had like other people approach me that had to keep it somewhere. I didn't like the hardware wallets in the market. I built a better hardware wallet, in my opinion. And then, we use it to keep our stuff safe, right? But it was all out of necessity, was not out of a hobby. And I think that's a very interesting, sort of important approach, I mean, in my opinion, to life in general. It's like you have to assess risk in life, and you have to mitigate that in a sort of more like thoughtful way, right? I think that comes from personal responsibility in regards to your finances, right? And I think people just been, unfortunately, schools have like all teachers are socialists. Like you find one that's not, right? But like essentially all the teachers are unionized socialists, right? And they teach kids not to have any personal responsibility, right? Oh, it's not your fault. Oh, it's like collective bargaining. The teachers are always striking in every freaking country of the world, right? So they strike to get more money, and the government shouldn't fire them, and blah blah blah, right? So we start teaching kids very early that there is no consequences, or there is no reality of resources in the world, right? And people grow up with that, right? So they grow up with their pensions being managed by the government. They grow up with their salary coming from an employer from the sky somewhere that just shows up in their bank account. And so it's very hard to take people from that place where it seems like everything is just done for them and is done well, right? Into a place where essentially you have shotguns in a carriage crossing US with the Indians shooting at you, right? That's what Bitcoin is. It's like Wells Fargo crossing America in the freaking, in the 1600s, right? Like it feels that way. Uh, so I think unless there is necessity, it's going to be very hard to take the average person into this process.
No, I mean, it's like you can sell some very easy, simple messages like, well, if the government keeps printing money, then we can look historically and your buying power's dropped. So perhaps you want to put a little bit into Bitcoin as a hedge or an insurance. And, perhaps if you're buying like $100, $200, $300, you can leave on an exchange. But look, if you're not going to leave it on an exchange, perhaps you should think about a hardware wallet and go to that next step. But there seems to be this like brutal, I'm more Bitcoin than you thing, where it's like, you've got to run a Tor, you've got to have an operator node. And I just think it's a tough sell to get people there.
So again, this is the beautiful thing about Bitcoin. It's voluntary, right? So you don't have to listen. You don't have to listen to the people pushing purity on you. You don't have to. You can tell them, go fuck yourself. Right?
Go
like,
fuck yourself.
I don't give a fuck.
Said I could say that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, seriously, it's like it doesn't matter what they say. It's your money. You control it however you want. Now, it's also like they're also free to laugh at you when you get racked, right? Because you lost your money in an exchange, or because, or worse, right? Like, for example, through the fork wars, right? The last fork wars around the big cash split and stuff, right? If you were not holding, like, if you didn't have a full node up to date, you could have taken the wrong fork, and then you screw yourself, right? So, and then, like, people don't want to be in a place where they're laughing at you either. So, and I think, like, you see enough people getting racked the same way, you see enough people getting sick, right? Like, you feel some responsibility towards others, a very human thing. I think it's a very hard balance to strike between pushing people towards the right direction and not being too preachy or too much of a dick.
Yeah,
that's very hard. That's the
right balance.
But but fuck, man, Twitter is like the worst medium for nuance. There is no nuance on Twitter. It's like the literal opposite.
Yeah, I know that, dude. I've experienced that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be of the mindset of don't block people and stuff, but you know what? Nowadays, just fuck it. Honestly, like, there is people that are just not worth my time.
Yeah. Like, I have it when the taco plebs.
I mean, so I think it's also important for people to realize, and I think you got screwed with that just a couple days ago. It's
fucking hell! Did you follow that? That was
yeah,
mad.
No, that's why I made that tweet. Don't release your business numbers. So what people don't realize is that people have different circumstances in their lives, right? So there's people out there where like, say, $20 is a massive amount of money, right? So when you talk about your business numbers, it's a business, right? They don't have context, right, to understand that a business needs cash flow, and it has costs, and it has to prepare for months after or before. So and then if you show that like the margin on a product is X, right, they're gonna think that it's all profit on your pocket, right? That's not like future investment in R&D or whatever. But then, if you show you're losing money, people are going to lose respect for the product too. So there is no winning when
I know.
in being transparent like that. I don't think it's a prude business decision. Plus, it's another thing too. It's nice. It's your competitors shouldn't know how much you're selling, how much profit you make, because they're going to adapt their strategies based on that too. So
well, do you know what it was? The reason I did it is because back when it was like December 18, I just kept getting called a scammer all the fucking time. I was like, how am I a scammer? I'm not even making any money. Oh, you're promoting scammers, blah blah blah. So when I got my first couple of checks, I was like, I'm just going to be completely transparent. Not tell what the value of each check is, but here's who I work with. Here's how I'm getting paid. This is what I'm spending my money on. Like, but also it's kind of cool to show the journey and say, look, this is where I'm trying to take it. Like, I want to do videos, so like this is where I'm investing the money. But all it does is like there's like this 1% of fucking people who just get triggered by it, and they're like, he's making too much money. And I was like, aren't we free market people here?
Yeah, no, it's like it's none of your fucking business, right? That's one of the reasons why releasing business numbers shouldn't be done. But if you do release it, expect to have some feedback.
Yeah, and
positive
look,
and negative.
I'm fine with that. It is what it is. I might leave it. I don't know. I'm in an iron.
But I think the main thing is I think there is a certain level of jealousy, right? Like people are in different circumstances in their life, especially if they're young and fucked, right? I mean, that's just part of being young and beginning your professional career. So some of that frustration will probably be put on somebody that's successful. That's a very common thing that happens. You know, the other thing again is just just no concept, no context of like actual money and accounting for a business, right? Like just none. It's just in their mind is like check goes to bank, from bank goes to party. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like they don't understand. There's a whole middle there between check in the bank and then you know out of the bank.
Yeah, and the 2.5 years of working 80 hours a week.
And you should make money, dude. You should make a fuck ton of profit. Like, hopefully. Profit is a great fucking thing. It's like, that's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. Bitcoin is a capitalist tool, man.
Exactly. It's like, it's not fucking socialism.
Yeah, but that's where some of this hypocrisy comes in Bitcoin that kind of pisses me off. It's this like, we're fucking free market libertarians. Look, someone's making some money. Let's destroy them. Let's tear them down. You can't fucking make money. It's like, what are we doing here? Yeah,
it's you know, it's that's why I'm proud to be a monomaniac.
All right, man. Listen, look, tell me what's going on with your company at the moment. What's going on with Coldcard and everything else?
So we launched Mark III, I think almost a year ago now. It still remains unbound, which is pretty cool. There's people out there with $1 million labs trying to break it to embarrass us, but they so far have not been successful, which is a lot of fun. We're working on our next version that will come out in some time from now, quite some time.
How many you work on it? How many people? Is it literally just you and your partner, or is it like a whole team?
We have we have like other people that do stuff with us. We also have a factory north of here. We make all the stuff here in Canada, which is a lot of fun. And it's like this is like, it's a weird project, right? Because after we closed down our last sort of services, we ended up keeping the business open, but we closed down all the services we had. We had like about $4 billion worth of Bitcoin deposits.
What?
And it was, it was fun closing it down, making sure everybody got it all back and stuff. And, a huge chunk of it was in multi-sig. So we designed it in a way we couldn't run away with it. But that was a lot of fun. I really don't want to run a business where I'm like 24 hours a day maintaining a server somewhere. It's just not. I want to just focus on making stuff, right? Like physical things, hardware. It's just like building stuff. It's like that's what I do in my past time, kind of thing, right? Aside from like barbecuing and camping, it's like just like I just spend my day building stuff. And so when we closed down Coinkite, we needed a place to keep the stuff. So we built Coldcard, and Coldcard was just like an open source. It wasn't even going to be for sale necessarily. It was just, but we had enough interest, so we made extras and sold it all. And then we're like, okay, well, let's focus on that as a business. Then it's fun. We make OpenDime the other the bearer asset, and we have this thing where we like to invent stuff. Like we don't want to make things that exist, right? We really sort of just want to we want to sit and sort of explore, have like basement full of prototypes kind of thing.
So what's coming then?
So we just launched the Cold Power, right? That little it's like it converts a 9-volt battery to 5 volts. So essentially you have like a USB power supply from a 9-volt battery that you can find in your local fire alarm. And that one is nice because it really sort of gives you a nice buffer between a computer and a cold card for you to be really safe there, truly air gapping your hodl. But no, next is we're working on a product that it's going to be not replacing Cold Card. It's gonna sort of be probably alongside it.
Ooh, is it a node?
No, I'm not launching a node. So I've been wanting to make a node, a proper node, right, with actual security on it, so you could do like a nice little HSM there. We end up launching the HSM software for you to use a Cold Card as a server HSM. But no, we're making another little device that it's going to be a bit bigger, and it's going to do a lot of more interesting things, and that should go alongside nicely with Cold Card. And we're working now on the industrial design and sort of working on pricing it, and figuring out like exactly we're building the boards and working out the economics of it. When you make, I mean,
what does it do? Just fucking tell me.
I'm not. I can't. No, I'm not talking about that yet.
All right, man.
But what's fun is like making stuff is easy. I mean, easy, right? I mean, it's easier, especially one-offs or art or things like that, right? But the most fun challenge is making stuff that's economically viable as a product. It's like it's a hammer on you, right? It's like, oh, look, I made this very cool thing. Okay, now try to manufacture that into large scale and make it profitable. Right? Like it's like take everything.
Get people to buy it.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That to me is where the fun is nowadays. I essentially just spend most of my time on like the business and like product concepts and like industrial design and like running the business and manufacturing and all the logistics of it. And I let my better half do most of the coding these days.
Well, it's cool, man. It's like a cool business you've built up.
Yeah, and, it's like we wanted to see if we could scale a cottage business. We run because this is what I want to do in my days, right? So I want to be able to not wear pants to work and still sell to 120 countries. It's an interesting, it's a very interesting concept we're trying to build in here. Everybody works from home.
Yeah, and you've got the potential of trying to ride out your first bull market at some point with a Cold Card, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember watching what the logistical issues that the likes of the other wallet providers had to go through when everyone wanted to buy them. They had to ramp up, and then the market simmered down, and then they had all this overproduction. They've had to redesign their whole logistics process now to be able to support flash bull markets. And I guess that's something you're going to have to think about.
Yeah, we had to go through that with OpenDime on the last market. That was fun. We ran out of stock a few times, but I think we've nailed. We've designed the products in such a way that it's a lot easier to scale. Mm-hmm. There's a few parts that are a little bit slower to get, but aside from that, and those we just stock, and we like building new versions, right? So like Cold Card, there's already third version. It's like it's a nascent market. Right, it's a nascent technology, so like everything is changing. That's why, like Trezor gets pounded all the time, right? It's because those guys are still running a design that was made almost a decade ago. So you have to come up with like bullshit marketing to explain why you keep on getting pounded. Right? Anyway, props to them for seeing this market way back then. But it's interesting. And I find it's probably due to overproduction too that they still selling the same sort of thing. They probably have piles and piles of it in stock.
Probably.
But it's like come on, man! It's like a new market, right? Just build something new. Improve it.
$700 Trezor here.
Oh, you bought one of those like goldy things?
No, they sent me one.
Oh.
That's the benefit of being an influencer.
Oh, you're an influencer, huh?
Apparently so. I like to think of myself as a amateur journalist. But,
did you ever buy a block clock? You need to buy a block clock.
No, what's a block clock?
You don't know a block clock?
I don't know much, dude.
Yeah, look at my Twitter. There is a video of this clock.
Oh, the block clock.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to. That was like $5,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're almost running out. We're not. We didn't sell that many. of course, fucking $5,000, and it was in a bear
Yeah.
market. It cost a fuck ton to make it. We made this as a personal anniversary of 10 years of Bitcoin last year, right? So we're like,
Yeah.
fuck it, we're just gonna make the thing we want to make, and that's what happens when you don't do things economically viable.
Yeah, I wanted to buy it. I saw it. I was like, that's cool. I was like, $5,000. I was like, nope.
Yeah, wait for the next bull market.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that we didn't sell that many of those, but we sold enough that we're capping at whatever this batch that we have. That's it. It's gonna be, and then we're gonna release the number of how many were made ever, and we're never gonna make one again, probably.
I reckon you made less than 50.
It's again, I don't release business numbers, man. It's a lot more fun that way.
Fuck, now I want one.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. I mean, I love this. I have like one in every room in my house, essentially.
You should send me one. I'm an influencer. I'll tweet about it.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, if you're going to advertise our product on the beginning of every episode for a year, sure.
Well, we can talk about that. I don't have a hardware wallet as a sponsor. Maybe we should.
That's right. Anyways, so yeah,
Well,
man,
listen,
making stuff is fun. It's I think
cool.
It's a good instead of whining about that. That's, I guess, like the biggest annoying thing about Bitcoin is the whining. It's like, Bitcoin doesn't have like good UX. Well, then fucking build it.
Well, hold on. I whine about that and I can't build it.
Well, then stop whining about it. I mean, I can't force it to stop whining about it, but
You can't.
No, but see, this is the cool thing, right? So let's say you're a UX guy, right?
Yeah.
You can't code, right? You're a traditional UX guy. Well, you know what? Instead of fucking whining, get a few other people that can code together, right? And fucking fix it. And do it either do it as a hobby or even better, do it as a business. Create a new web wallet out there or a software wallet out there and charge people money for it, or charge money people for support or whatever, right? It's just that whining is just annoying and it doesn't change anything. Nobody's going to change it because you're whining. Like, seriously, like, nobody gives a fuck, really. I mean, we all want Bitcoin to be better, easier, right? But it's.
But it's happening anyway. Look, dude, it's happening anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, you've lived through it all. You've seen the stages. You've seen I'm sure if you compare now to like 2015 and then 15 to 13 and 13 to 11, there's been a lot of progress.
I mean, just look at like how easy it is to use Bitcoin now as it was way back then, right? I mean, like with OpenDime, it's like you just stick it in a computer, you deposit money into it, you give it to somebody. It really is like it's mind-boggling simple, right?
Yeah.
Do I wish I could make it more simple? Yes, I have plans, but it's not economically viable yet because the Bitcoin market's still small, right? Mm-hmm. But I have other technologies I can use to make it even better, right? And then, like, look at the phone wallets, right? Phone wallets used to be essentially like one exit scam away from like Sunday, right? But now all phone wallets offer a non-custodial like option that then they make it very easy for you to do that, right?
Yeah.
Exchanges haven't been disappearing with money for some time now.
Certainly the big ones.
Exactly, right? Yeah, but the market is maturing, right? Slowly but surely is maturing, right? Like, I mean, me trying to make a Bitcoin debit card in 2013, it was a little bit too early, like there was just no market. So I couldn't do it the way I wanted to do, but like maybe like now there's going to be other people doing this stuff with a scale, right? Yeah. And I think the next 10x of Bitcoin, right? As that happens, we're going to have another 10x of people in Bitcoin too. And that would enable really like, you're going to be able to have small consumer electronics level of sales, right? Mm-hmm. So you can actually use different technologies. You can use different marketing budgets. You can do other things, right? So I mean, look at the exchanges already, right? So most exchanges that print money right now, they actually put a lot of money into bringing new people to Bitcoin.
Of course.
So now imagine when most Bitcoin businesses can afford to also sell to non-Bitcoiners, right? To do the more expensive marketing. It's just accelerates, right? Bitcoin is a dark it's a dark hole, and it's just going to absorb everything in. But again, this impatience, this whininess is just so unproductive because it also turns people away, right? The people who actually can make stuff. So let's say you're a dev, right? And you want to work on some stuff, or you work in core or whatever. And you have this like semi-politicized wine battle between two factions that want things in a certain way or another. You don't want to get involved in that. You just want to wake up, code, do some hard stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't want to touch anything that's going to be contentious. And UI, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a fucking opinion about the color of the button.
Of course,
right?
Man.
And it doesn't fucking matter that much. Right. But on the hard stuff, most people can't see and can't have an opinion about it. Right. And so that stuff moves along much faster.
But we still, like you say, a lot of progress has been made, dude. There's options.
Totally. And there is more coming. I mean, Snort and Taproot and all that stuff. Like it's going to improve UX too. Right. Because you're just going to be able to do things a lot more. Like, here's a good one. Right. So for example, with SegWit, with this last update, like, you could, for example, have like better QR codes. I know it sounds simple, but like, SegWit addresses, you have better QR codes, a lot more optimized and error, and better error correction. So like, that on itself is a big improvement. I can fit a QR code in the tiny little screen of a cold card, and it still gets read by a phone. It's amazing.
That is pretty cool. So why should people buy a cold card then? Now's your sales speech. Why should they buy a cold card over a Ledger or a Trezor?
But it's better. It's like more secure. It's very easy to use. It's privacy by default. There's no shitcoin on it. It's not a purity test, the no shitcoin, right? It's like the more code you have, the more code you have to review, and the more room you have for bugs and attacks, right? So, for example, Trezor just got pound last week, and you could steal Monero through whatever, and they found other bugs. Probably the same guy that was doing the Monero attack, right? So, like, it just opens you up for more grief and more wasted time dealing with stuff that doesn't have financial consequence, right? So it truly is like Cold Card is Bitcoin only. It's like, it's not like they're fake like firmwares that say, this one is Bitcoin only, but they also maintaining 1,000 shit coins on a separate firmware. No,
we had Liquid on there.
Probably, yeah. Once we figure out how to fit confidential transaction signing, we probably would. It is Bitcoin based, right? So it makes sense. It makes economical sense to have it so that you can have your stable value and your Bitcoin value on the same device, probably. But again, like, it's like Bitcoin's priority, right? So we just keep on focusing on that. So yeah, no, listen, it's just a better device. It was made so that people who know what they're doing can do all the things they want to do, and then we sort of simplify from there instead of just starting from the lowest common denominator, which is the person that doesn't know anything. Person that doesn't know anything doesn't use a hardware wallet. I don't care about them.
All right, listen, where do they find out more, dude?
You go to codecardwallet.com or coinkite.com or me at NVK on Twitter, and you'll find more information about the stuff we make.
All right, man. Well, listen, look, it was great to get you on. Finally.
That's right. It's been a while. Yeah. I've drank more times with you than I have been here.
Dude, we drank a few times. I'm trying to remember the last time. Where was it? Was it in
Mexico?
Hold on. Did I not see you in Vegas?
No, I didn't go.
Yeah. I remember now. Yeah, Mexico. Mexico's the last time. I don't know when I'll see you again. Don't know when this shit will all get back to normal. Probably here will be the next time now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to wait until October anyways.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm sure we're gonna see each other soon in some conference. This whole VR Zoom shit is getting old. I wanna drink with people in person and have
Dude,
steak.
I've been playing have you've got the Oculus Quest, right?
Yeah,
Have you done the boxing?
VR is such a mediocre experience, man. Like, it's like it's really cool. Don't get me wrong, and it's easy now, right? You put the stuff in your head and you press a button and it goes, right?
Yeah.
But man, it's like so low res, and it's like, and the audio sucks, and it's like, and,
Yeah, but it's PlayStation 1. That's to me, like, we're at
totally.
PlayStation 1. Like, when we get to PlayStation 4 version of VR, it's going to be insane. But I found some good shit. There's this, Udi put me onto this boxing thing called Thrill of the Fight.
Oh, yeah, the boxing stuff is fun.
That's awesome. And also, have you done the Walk the Plank thing?
The which one?
Richard's Plank or something? There's a
No,
plank thing.
I like the shooting ones. The shooting games are fun. I play some of them. I did do a talk, the Woody thing. I went on I don't know if you were there. I mean, 2-3 weeks ago, I did I presented in VR, right?
Yeah.
And it is weird to try to concentrate in the presentation and sort of stand there, and it's
Dude,
but
totally
at least
weird.
you don't
But
have to wear
listen,
pants.
Go and get the Richard's Plank thing. You go in this elevator up to the top of the skyscraper, and then there's a plank coming out of the elevator, and it's windy, and you can see down to the ground. I'm telling you now, even though you're stood in your room, you cannot step sideways off. I couldn't. I was too scared. I barely could stand on the plank, even though I know it's literally just I'm stood in my front room, right?
Yeah, no, totally. So there is this game, I think it's called Pistol Whip or something like that. The graphics are shitty. It's too forgiving with the shooting and stuff. But dude, it's moving, and it's like you get in it, right? Like your brain sort of completely gets in it. It's kind of like remember the CRT TVs, I mean, like the smaller TVs when we're kids.
Yeah.
Man, the image was just trash, right? The sound was crap. But like you're watching a movie, right? You are there. Your brain fills in all the gaps. It's so cool. It really does. It just takes a toll. Like you get cognitively tired.
Dude, get Richard's Plank and then text me. I'm telling you now, it will screw with your head, that thing.
I don't want to try it now.
Yeah, you do, man. All right, well, listen, look, appreciate you coming on, dude. Great to finally catch up with you. Obviously, wish you the best. Wish you the best with Cold Card. And yeah, man, let's chat soon, dude.
Thanks, man. You keep up the good show. I think it's important to have like shows that are for people who are not hardcore. Just don't bring the shitcoiners on, and it's all good.
Yeah, man, it's been such a long time. I think we can cast that one from me. I can't remember the last one, but we're probably talking 18 months now. We can forget that shit.
Yeah, listen, it was part of your journey, right? Everybody has theirs in Bitcoin.
Exactly, man. Well, listen, look, take care, stay safe, man, stay healthy, and I will speak to you soon.
You too.
Alrighty, what did you think of that one? Now, I really like hanging out with Rodolfo. I mean, he calls me a pussy all the time, which is what it is. But I like him. He keeps me on the straight and narrow. He is a Bitcoin purist, absolutely. And I've hung out with him a few times. We've had a beer a few times. We've caught up. And I've wanted to get him on the show for ages. So we finally did it. I'm really glad. Now, I think this Bitcoin purity stuff is important. And the reason it's so important to me, like, listen, I talk to a lot of my friends. I try and keep with the no coiners, the potential coiners, the future Bitcoiners. And you know what? These are people who are statists, who believe in the government. These are people who aren't maybe always technical. These are people who, they just want to buy some Bitcoin and a number to go up. So what do we do about these people? Should we be giving them shit from the start? Should we be forcing libertarianism down their throat? Should we be calling them slaves if they vote for the government? Should we be hassling them if they buy Ethereum or some other bullshit? Look, I think you can pick and choose your battles. I would get my friends to buy Bitcoin. I would keep them away from altcoins. I would get them to properly, at a minimum, get a hardware wallet. Am I going to force them to run a node? Absolutely not. Am I going to introduce them to it? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a good idea, but I think it's a bit of a barrier. Now, listen, I know this is provocative. I know some people disagree. I definitely want to hear your feedback. You can reach out to me. My email address is hello@whatbitcoindid.com. And listen, I launched my latest film. It's out on Defiance TV. That's youtube.com, Defiance TV, looking at the migrant and refugee crisis at the Turkey-Greece border. Please go and check it out. Please share it out with your friends and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you about that. All right, have a great week, and I will see you all soon.